guys, it's Jillian and welcome back to week 8 of the Learning Gardens. So last week we talked about water. This week we're going to talk about soil and why your plants need it. And then we're also going to talk about what soil is made out of and why it's important for us to make sure that our soil is really good quality. Soil has a really important purpose for our plants. So the first thing that you did when we planted our learning gardens is you put your soil in your plant right package, right? So the soil that we see in the ground serves the same purpose. It gives your plants a place to grow. It gives them a way to get nutrients to their roots. It holds water close to their roots. It is a home for all of the microbes that live in the soil. And those microbes break down organic matter and help make nutrients available to the plants. So it makes it into a form that the plants are actually able to use. So when we're looking at our soil, we want to make sure that we create the perfect home for those microbes so that they make really good nutrients for our plants. And then also that we take care of our soil so it's the best place for our plants to be able to grow big and strong. So this is an example of why it's really important that we make sure that our plants are able to live in the soil. What happens in areas where there aren't any plants that are growing, that soil becomes really loose and easy to move, right? So what happens is then when it rains, that water rushes through and it'll wash all this soil away. And when it washes the soil away, it also washes away all of those nutrients that plants need. So then if we try to go back and plant new plants in this area, it's really hard for them to grow. So the soil is actually made up of all these different tiny little pieces called particles. And there's 3 kinds of particles that you can find in the soil. So what we have here at Colonial is a really heavy, silty clay soil. So clay is the smallest particle, and that's what makes this stuff really sticky. It makes it stick to my hands a lot. Silt is the same way. It's the second smallest particle, and so because it's so small, it makes it sticky too, but when you run your fingers through it, you can feel some of the grains. And then the next biggest one is one that you guys see at the beach or at the park. It's sand. Because it's so big, it doesn't hold its shape very well, and water can run through it really easily. But as you can see, because we have this really heavy clay, silty soil, this soil holds a lot of water. So it's really mucky and squishy, and when I squeeze it, lots and lots of water comes out. So it's really great for plants because we don't have to worry about when there's a drought. We always make sure we have lots of water, but sometimes it can be a problem because the soil holds so much water, it can actually drown our plants. So that's why we like to make sure that our plants get plenty of water, but we also want to make sure that they're not too wet like they would be right here. So our learning gardens should look pretty much the same like they did last week. So just make sure that they're getting plenty of sun. With all this rain we've had this week, you probably won't have to water unless you have them on a porch where they don't have access to the rain. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure you're doing your water checks. If they're getting too much water, you might want to make sure to pull them away from the rain onto a porch like I mentioned earlier, since we have so many thunderstorms coming, just to make sure they don't get hurt from all the wind and the rain. Keep harvesting. You've got all the rest of this summer to harvest your lettuce, so make some pretty salads. Show us what they look like. And then also look out for your calendula. It should be getting pretty close to blooming. I've got a couple of blooms on mine and this really sad little bloom right here. So keep an eye out for that. You can actually eat those flowers, so you can use them as a garnish on your salads whenever they start to bloom. So I'm really hoping that you guys will get to do that soon. See you next week.